Well, good morning, everyone. And here we are with the awesome possibilities of a bright new year before us. And especially one of my very, very, very favorite ideas that I heard long ago, and it's meant so much to me, that is where you will be in 5 years, or next year, or next month, or 10 years, or whatever it is. But where you will be depends on the people you associate with, what you read, what you listen to, all of those sorts of things. We become what we think about. And one of the greatest shortcuts is having a mentor, somebody that shows you what to do, shows the way, knows the way. And Jeffery Combs, I'm pleased to call you a friend and a personal mentor. And oh my goodness, I can have you as a mentor, but I can read your books and listen to your CDs and all those other good things too. You're the real deal. So anyway, let me just share this right here. Jeffery Combs is a renowned author, speaker, and success and addictions coach who specializes in letting go. Baggage? Does anybody have any of that? Well, Jeffrey founded his corporation Mastermind, Golden Mastermind Seminars in 1998. Since then, he has coached over 18,000 clients. That's one-on-one. And that adds up to, 180,000 hours of one-on-one coaching. Jeff's areas of expertise include sales, marketing, free enterprise, debt, low self-esteem, anxiety, anger, codependence, substance abuse, and dysfunctional families. Jeffrey has published 5 books, including 2 bestsellers. He has also delivered over 1,000 keynote speeches. Coming up July 13th in Salt Lake City, another keynote speech. And so, wow, all of these books, keynote speeches, he's been featured on Fox, ABC, CBS, Lifetime, as well as other media publications, magazines, and radio stations. And we have him here today, and just so excited. I got to add that Valerie and I went to a seminar that you had in Stockton, where you live, and just met some very quality people. And what I noticed, the thing in common, is they've been coaching with you for many of them 5 or more years, and just seeing where they come, what they're doing, just high level people. And it goes into that idea that Jim Rohn talks about, who you've worked with too. I think you've shared the stage with him, but one of his powerful things is that, oh, wow, 5 times. And another thing, that you are the average of the 5 people you associate with most. And so what a quick way to change everything about you is association. So Jeff, give us some good stuff. The floor is yours.
All right, Dave, thank you very much. It's my privilege and honor to be here with you. I want to thank you and also give you the credibility that you deserve. I had the privilege of being your coach in the mid 2000s and did 2 events with you in Spokane, Washington, when you were really at the peak of your career in the network marketing industry. At that peak of your career, I know that you're in a really, really empowering space right now, but you were one of the top income earners in the history of network marketing. I mean, you really, really paid your dues. And so I had the privilege of speaking at one of your audiences, and then you brought me back to Spokane on 2 different occasions. I believe that was 2006 and 7. And then you reconnected with me around 90 days ago. I also want to thank you for introducing me to this product. I have absolutely received results. I have been challenged with prostate issues for over 25 years. And in 90 days, I've seen some amazing results. And I know that you have a high belief in that specific product. Now, you had mentioned Jim Rohn. I did have the privilege of sharing the stage with Jim Rohn on 5 different occasions. And I met Jim Rohn through Kyle Wilson, his manager. And Kyle Wilson was also a connection to another speaker friend of mine. So just as you said, the power of association. But not only did I meet Jim Rohn, I met Ron White and shared the stage with Ron White on numerous occasions, who in 3 different occasions was the world champion of memory. And Ron White has a photo right over there on my wall that says, "The only man in the world that has a better memory than me." He's talking to me. Now, I'm not a memory expert like him, but I have a very skilled memory. And the reason that I'm able to have that memory is innate with me, but I teach memory skills. And many people don't have memory and recall because of the trauma that they continue to hold on to. So I started my network marketing career in the late 80s with Amway. And I didn't really do a lot with Amway. I was a product consumer. I listened to the cassette tapes back then. But I really turned the corner in my network marketing career right at the time I was becoming clean and sober. I was a drug addict, alcoholic for 14 years and became clean and sober at the most unfortunate way to become clean and sober, and that is through rock bottom. I went through a series of rock bottom until rock bottom was really rock bottom. And I became clean and sober on December 18th, 1988, which gives me 35 years in that program of codependency, alcoholism, drug addiction, and a whole host of other addictions that I didn't even know I had as I've been through this journey of recovery. And that's when I found Amway's at that time. And I also was then introduced a couple of years later to Herbalife, which really was the company that I turned the corner in. That was the company that I really learned network marketing skills. I learned from Larry Thompson, Mark Hughes, and of course, Jim Rohn, because Jim Rohn was never an Herbalife associate or distributor. Jim Rohn was the keynote speaker for Herbalife. He was contracted by Herbalife for multiple $1 million a year as their speaker. And I started to follow his content along with Napoleon Hill, Wayne Dyer, and especially Louise Hay. That's when I started to become a lot more homeopathic. I became a lot more organic, and I started to step out of the medical world and move into the holistic world, and also was introduced to muscle testing, mind-body connections, and began to learn that I could actually heal myself. And over this odyssey and the journey that I've been on through network marketing, I was a 10-year veteran of network marketing. And like you, Dave, I went through a few opportunities to find the ideal one that I could really monetize. And so I had hit a rock bottom financially in the industry. I mean, I was in TPN, the People's Network, with Eric Worre and Jeff Olson and that era, and ended up at the end of 1996, I was $100,000 in credit card debt. And I answered a little ad in the USA Today that would change my life. And it was like lightning in a bottle, because I had reached that pinnacle in my career where I was not only ready, I had the skill set. And after 8 years of repetition, experience, learning how to sell, learning how to write content, and learning how to build a team. I was always a great recruiter, but I was not a great team developer until I really started to turn the corner. I had my first 7-figure year in 1997 and 8. And at that point, I also decided that I was going to leave the industry and go out on my own so I could create my own enterprise. And I started Golden Mastermind Seminars at the end of 1998. And that's the California corporation I've owned since. And so since then, I've been a one-on-one coach. I've spoken over 1,000 times in 4 continents, 47 states. I'm going to do an event for you, do an event with you this summer. So I'm really looking forward to that. But here's the content I have. And I've been featured on a lot of the end of the year Zooms and trainings and events where people have me speak at the end of the year for their team or their culture, or their organization, because we're conditioned to set goals. However, we're not conditioned to achieve goals. We're conditioned to set the goal, write the goal down, and go out and figure it out. Well, there's a lot more to that. But if here we are at the end of the era, 2023. Now, depending on what your beliefs are, I believe it's one of those challenging times in the history of world history. And I also believe it's one of the most opportune times to be able to create sovereignty and free enterprise where you can be responsible for your own income, where you can absolutely go out there with the opportunity you have right in front of you, with the products you have right in front of you, and you can create your own empire. You can create your own income. You've done it, Dave. You are a multiple 6-figure income earner in network marketing and direct sales. And there are people in your team and culture that were part of that team and culture. You were there. And so here you are. You have a team and culture that has this product. You have the people in your circle of influence. You have the leadership. You have the organization. Everything is right here for you, but it's going to require you to really show up in a way that you may have not ever shown up before. And that means that so you can be in the right place at the right time. But if you're not able to actualize that, so the term goes right place, right time, recognize it. Well, there's still another component of that, because you can be in the right place and right time and recognize it. But if you don't monetize it, all it was an opportunity. So to monetize an opportunity is to really understand the skill set on what is required to create the income, the skill set that's required to be able to create the livelihood, the skill set the emotional mastery that's required to attract the core leadership. And it starts with you, Y-O-U. So many people go outside of themselves to avoid looking at themselves, and to be able to attract quality, like-minded success seekers, to attract quality customers, to attract people who see the value. It's to let go of your own rejection. So if you're critical of yourself, you're going to attract rejection. You're going to create rejection. It's called a payoff. You'll recreate the same situation over and over. So the biggest lie that people tell themselves is they're not good enough. And that's the lie that people perpetuate over and over and over. Their mouth might move, but underneath their core beliefs and their core values, most of the population has been traumatized, victimized, sexually abused, physically abused, criticized, and they don't feel good enough. And a large percent of every organization that we build is that database, that core database of people who don't have the belief. Now, many people buy into belief of the product and the company, but it's so important that you believe in yourself, that you are good enough. And it doesn't matter what happened yesterday, because that's what's regret. Many people hold on to regret. And then there's the future, where many people are worried and they have anxiety about the future that hasn't happened. It's imperative that you let go of the past regret and the future that hasn't happened, and you focus on this year 2024. And you also have 2 days left before 2024. So you could actually attract a quality, like-minded success seeker today, tomorrow, before the first of the year. It doesn't start on Monday. It starts right now with the content, because the right people show up when you're ready, and the right people show up when you can recognize it, and the ideal clients show up when you're able to accept it. So acceptance is a huge component of being able to transcend consciousness. Consciousness is the ability to know, understand, be aware, and then actualize it. So actualizing it is where many people miss the mark. They end up spending most of their time procrastinating, avoiding, and getting ready to get ready. Now, you mentioned that I wrote 2 best-selling books. The first bestseller I wrote was a book called From Procrastination to Production. I shopped that book to an agent. The agent then shopped it to a company called Career Press, which then bought the rights to that book from me. And they turned it into a minor bestseller and published it in 4 different countries. It actually sold more copies in China and Brazil than it ever did in America, although it ended up in every Barnes & Noble in America, and it's still there today. It's called The Procrastination Cure. And you can buy that on my website at goldenmastermind.com. So procrastination comes from the Latin word procrastinare, and it means to avoid. And that's what many people do, is they avoid getting on with their life. They avoid their own success. But a lot of the world can trade time for dollars for someone else. So here you are right here at the end of the era, 2023. You're in a place called free enterprise. You can virtually and actually create what the free market will bear, because you have the vehicle. So you can also be the right person, but if you don't have the vehicle, you can stay stuck on the ground. So if you want to fly, you either invent your own vehicle, which is going to cost you time and money, or you leverage yourself in someone else's vehicle, and that's the value of network marketing and direct sales. So you don't have to start the company from scratch like I did, Golden Mastermind Seminars. You can actually leverage the company you're in right now, and virtually from where you are right now today, from where you are, you can actualize where you are today at the end of this year. And in a 12-month period, it's up to you to determine, am I capable of 5 figures a month? Am I capable of 6 figures a month? Am I capable of 4 figures a month? Am I going to be a great ambassador for this company? Well, that's for you. So that is called belief. That is sense of certainty. And Tony Robbins' great book, Awaken the Giant Within, which Robbins wrote in 1988, chapter 4 is on belief. I must have read that chapter 50 times in my early career. And Robbins was coined for saying, belief is your sense of certainty. It's also your sense of uncertainty. So in your belief, if you have belief, you're in high consciousness. If you're in disbelief, you're in anxiety, fear, and doubt. Dave, what's one area that you would like me to assist the team of your entrepreneurs that are here today? I see you have a relatively large audience. It looks like you have almost 90 people today. I want to commend you for attracting this audience today. Dave.
What I'm thinking would be probably all of us. I love that.
Right, courage.
Let me see.
Courage.
Oh, courage. Okay, that sounds good. I'll put that in there. One of the other things that just in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, I know this stuff. How do I just get myself to know what I know I need to do? How do I do that? Throw that in
Okay,
there. Courage too.
that's a great question. So what many people do is they do this. They buy the book. This is my breakthrough factor. They buy the book and they read the book. So they read the book, but they don't apply the book. Let me show you a book I had last night. So this book right here, it's called 12 Steps and 12 Traditions. This is the 12 steps of AA. Before I went out to dinner last night, I went to step 8. And step 8 is making amends. And step 8, so I don't just read the book, I apply the book. And so the application of knowledge is called context. So what many people do is they read the book, that's the content. They go to the seminar, they go to the rally, they go to the convention, they listen to the podcast. But the actualization of the content is called context. So in I teach letting go skills. My expertise is in teaching people the mechanism of letting go, the actualization of letting go, the skill set of letting go. Letting go is 2 words that very few people understand. I teach it. I will finish my life on this planet teaching the skill of letting go because it's the most important skill that you master. So you can read the book on letting go by David Hawkins. You can buy my book, which breaks down the breakthrough factor on letting go. But if you don't understand the application of it, then you're just in the content of it. The application is a very precise method in letting go of fight or flight. Fight or flight is the mechanism that most of the world holds on to. It's what keeps you procrastinating, avoiding, being late, being overwhelmed, not making your bed, not doing the dishes, not being able to get your car in the garage because you're not able to let go. You've turned your garage virtually into a storage unit. I coached a woman yesterday who's an addicted hoarder. I asked her if she could be sober today and get back with me at the end of today, if she could practice 1 day of sobriety of just cleaning her kitchen. When I asked her if she could clean her kitchen, she says, "Oh my God, it's so overwhelmed." I said, "Can you clean the kitchen?" It's a yes or no question. I said, "I'm not going to hold you accountable. I'm going to ask you if you can be accountable because that is the context." Now, she has read the books. She studied with Bob Proctor. She's been to multiple seminars, workshops, and she hired me. And I'm a different mentor than she's ever had before because I will assist her to understand the context. It's her responsibility, her ability to respond or react. Now, what most people continue to do is they join a company, they join a business, and they stay reactive. They listen to the content, but they don't actualize it. This is why right place, right time, recognize it. That's the trifecta. That's 1, 2, and 3. But step 4 is to let go of your anxiety, fear, and doubt about being successful. The reason people avoid success, say they think they're avoiding failure. What they really do is they're avoiding success because they have deep anxiety about the fear of being successful and the responsibility. It's all a story because they have the ability. Everybody has the ability. If you're on this Zoom today, you're definitely in the right place at the right time. The product you have is timely, especially for what's happened in the last 4 years. Everybody requires heavy metal detox. Everybody. There isn't anyone from all the foods we've eaten in the last 50 years, the prepackaged foods, the trauma-based mind control we've experienced. Our body is toxic from everything we've been through. And even the people who are really next level health, that are very health conscious, we require to detox. And so, but you also require to emotionally detox. That's the trauma you've held on to. That's the repressed feelings you've held on to. And so this is why so many people have challenges with memory, because they have heavy metal, and then they have trauma bonds that they hold on to. So this affects right up here. This is the hippocampus. This is where memory is. Your amygdala is down. It's in here. Amygdala is the emotional engine that searches for a feeling. If you're holding on to repressed feelings, not being good enough, rejection issues, abandonment issues, feelings of unworthiness, you have anger issues, you're holding on to a set of feelings, you're overwhelmed all the time, that's going to be a byproduct called brain fog. And that brain fog can absolutely be released. And this is why you have challenges with memory. This is why you have challenges thinking. This is why so many people check out and they have to think before they speak. This is the year that you move into higher consciousness, which allows you to improve your reflexes. If you're going to be skilled at recruiting, prospecting, It's important that you become skilled at being able to communicate effectively with people, and also that you have a clear conscience. So right here, this is your prefrontal cortex. That's where you decide and you discern. But if you're overwhelmed all the time, this is what the body does. It goes into fight or flight. That's the reflex that I assist people to let go of. That fight or flight mechanism right there, that is what creates shiny object syndrome. That's what creates avoidance. That's what creates the lower self, the ego, gets addicted to experiencing. And the ego wants to experience pleasure, wants instant gratification. And so this is why someone will read a book, it'll give them instant gratification. They'll think that knowledge will be the answer, or they'll go online and they'll shop, or they'll buy something, or they'll do something because they want to experience. But what you really want to learn to experience is peace. When you're in peace, you don't have to go anywhere. There's nothing you have to experience because you are peace. And if you can actually teach yourself how to let go of that fight or flight mechanism of requiring some instant gratification, some level of excitement, and you start to bring your body into a relaxed state of consciousness, that's where you know, you're aware, you understand, and especially you let go of doubt. Doubt is the place where most of the world hangs out. It's like a bar that people hang out in, and they stay there most of their life. It's doubt happy hour. And so it's a place that they will stuff their feelings with food, alcohol, and other situations, because when you're in doubt, the ego wants something to take the edge off. And so that's why people will avoid, because they have deep anxiety about the outcome that haven't happened. So when I cut my card deck, this is a card deck that I produced in 2005. It's a pack of affirmation cards right here. It's called More Heart Than Talent. You can buy these on my website. So I cut the card deck, and the card that I cut was courage. So you're going to require courage. You don't walk around the planet courageous, but you're going to require, you access courage. It's a quality you access to separate yourself from anxiety, fear, and doubt so that you can step into your power. Power is non-physical. Power is emotional. What most people live in is force, and then they try and force themselves, Dave, to do the business. And they're going to get around to it, and they're going to prospect today, but they're coming from force, not from power. So power is a non-attached state where you're non-attached to your prospects. You're non-attached to the outcome. That's where you learn the repetition and experience. That's how you learn to let go. That's where you let go of the prospect who doesn't buy from you. When you're no longer in anxiety, fear, and doubt, and you're not experiencing rejection, then you won't tell yourself stories about the prospects. The prospect ghosted me. The prospect gaslighted me. The prospect blew me off. The prospect didn't buy from me. The prospect didn't buy from you primarily because the prospect wasn't interested, or you weren't effective in your presentation. And the way to be more effective is through that repetition and experience. What's awesome about today's world is you don't have to be a superstar like you and I had to be in the 90s, Dave. The tools that we have in network marketing and direct sales are so much more effective than what we had in the 80s and 90s. Videos, presentations, Zooms. The industry has really grown up. I mean, it's virtually, you could walk right in this industry and create a $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 paycheck in less than 6 months, and sometimes faster, depending on who you are, where you are, and who is in your influence. So what is important that you understand today is that you are good enough, you are capable, you're in the right place, you are in the right time, but there's going to require a few basic skills that you're going to require to learn and eventually master, so that you can be the master of your emotions and the master of your destiny. And that's your communication skills, your ability to prospect. Prospecting is not as painful as you perceive it to be, and sales is the highest paid profession in the world. But it's important that you buy into that. You can't just avoid it and become magically, mythically good at it without the repetition experience. The term natural born, well, no one's a natural born salesperson. I mean, there's no one that's a virtuoso sales professional, or there's no one's a natural born networker. There are people who do have charm, charisma, and have people skills that apply to network marketing and direct sales. However, that's a very small percent. What you're going to learn is just basic skills, basics. You don't require a PhD. You don't even require a public high school diploma. What you require is the courage to to let go of your anxiety, fear, and doubt. Realize you're in the right place at the right time. Give yourself a 90-day game plan where you actually do have a clear set of defined goals, not these big goals, clear goals that are attainable, that are achievable. And then you're going to require a daily method of operation. You can't wing it and be successful. If you're part-time or spare time, there's nothing wrong with starting there, but in that spare time, part-time effort, your energy must be devoted what's going to create a result, not what's going to create education. Education is very overrated. You don't have to know everything in this bottle. You don't have, what you require knowing is that people get a result from it. That's the facts tell, stories sell. I mean, testimonials, those are good. You don't have to know, you don't have to be a scientist. But what is important is that you have the courage to let go of your anxiety, fear, and doubt. And that courage that you require, you don't buy it anywhere. You accept it. You accept that you're good enough and that you learn the basic skills, the communication skills of qualifying people for your product, service, benefit, and feature, and most importantly, your time. In my early career, I cranked out the content. I produced multiple DVD or CD sets back in the late 90s and early 2000s on the psychology of prospecting, the psychology of closing, the psychology of asking. That's where my focus was in my early career. That's the technical know-how. You require some technical know-how skills, how to ask the questions, how to qualify the buyer, how to ask for the commitment, how to do a three-way call with your upline, your mentor. I mean, these are basics. What's most important, other than the technical know-how, is the emotional know-how that you accept that you are good enough and that you step into your power in 2024, that this really is your year and it's not just a cliche, that you are in the right place in the right time. So that term is called conviction. And that conviction is an energy. It's a power. It's within you. It's God. It's that energy that you bring to the table. You know that you're in the right place in your right time, and that you will not be denied this time. Every failure you've been through, every missed opportunity, every relationship challenge you've been through is all a component of the neurological network of neurons that wire and fire that forms your feelings. And it's important this year that you feel this business, that you feel yourself, that you feel what's going on in the world, and you know it's your time. And there's never been a better time to be an entrepreneur right now. The big box stores, the trauma-based mind control that is going on, you see it, you see everything that's you see exactly what I'm happening. Hollywood, the music industry, the sports industry, the entertainment industry, the medical industry. This is where you can have your medical freedom. This is where you can have your emotional freedom, your financial freedom. It's right here, it's right now, and it's your responsibility, your ability to respond, to actualize. That's the context of what it is. I was $100,000 in credit card debt on December 27th, 1996. I answered an ad in the USA Today. Remember the USA Today, Dave, back in the day? That's where we used to find opportunities. Network marketers would post ads in the USA Today. And that the opportunity section was in the back of the sports page on Friday, because there was not a Saturday, Sunday edition. And on Friday, it was a Friday, December 27th, 1996, I answered a little ad that said attitude. And a Christian minister named Keithy Bradley had placed that ad in the USA Today. And I answered that ad. And from that day, $100,000 in credit card debt, 12 months later, I had a multiple six-figure year. And I had never had that happen to me because I was in the right place at the right time. And I was not only ready, I was committed. This is a word that seldom is used in the English language. Most of the population will say, I need to, I'd like to, I want to. Well, in muscle testing, those are called weak words. They don't test out in the emotional body. But when you're committed, you are committed. So the word providence means provide. Everything is provided for you right here. This is your providence. But it's your responsibility, your ability to respond to the stimulus. That's the opportunity. And then to actualize, it means you actually believe that you're good enough. And instead of procrastinating, you produce. The other side of procrastination is production, and that is called results. Results are created by energy, and that energy of love, joy, and bliss. You cannot attract your reality the like-minded clients that you're seeking when you're in anxiety, fear, and doubt. Because you're telepathically sending a mixed message. It's like this: please join me, but I'm too scared to enroll you. Please join me, but I'm not sure if I can sell you this product because you might not like me if it doesn't work. This is the mixed message that most of the planet lives in. So when I coach people, I spend quality time breaking down for them the cause that creates the effect of why they do what they do. When I started out coaching 26 years ago, I coached a lot of technical know-how. That was sales, branding, marketing, writing. But now my career is devoted to teaching people the skill of letting go, because that's the fundamental foundation. And that's what separates me as a coach from all the other great coaches out there. Is my insight and wisdom is on the mind-body connections that keep people recreating the same situation over and over to fulfill the same feeling. If you don't learn the skill of letting go, you'll recreate the same situation, find yourself recreating that same set of feelings to create the payoff and experience the same situation. So that's the content I have for your team today, Dave.
Oh my goodness. What would happen if we recorded this and you were to listen to just this every day, day after day? What would happen? And I love that idea about commitment. Until one is committed, there's hesitancy, the chance to drop back, always ineffectiveness. But the moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too, and everything streams forth. So wow, make a commitment, hang around good people like Jeffery Combs, listen to him, get his books, get his CDs, get his card deck.
Right there, Dave, it says, this is the deck. I just cut the deck. It says, I am now living in the law of least resistance. What that means is that you're letting go of the story you tell yourself about being and staying successful. I've coached 26 years, and here's the most common commonality that I encounter 7 days a week. It's people, they have some level of belief in an opportunity or their career or their job or life, but their biggest challenge is their belief in themselves. And so they create their own resistance that is called force. The law of least resistance is you surrender, and this is what all 12-step programs are based on, is surrendering to, I choose to call my higher power, which I also choose to call God. And that surrender is you're surrendering your will to struggle. And so the law of least resistance means you're letting go of the stories you tell yourself, and you actually give yourself permission to step into your emotional power. You give yourself permission to let go of all this anxiety, fear, and doubt. And you live that one day at a time where you're starting to create trust, belief, certainty, and you know you're in the right place at the right time, and you recognize it. If there's anyone in your team, Dave, that's looking for a coach, or they're considering coaching, I offer free 20-minute coaching sessions, and I would be honored to offer any of those sessions. And I want to thank you for providing this great audience for me. So if you would like to receive a 20-minute coaching session from me, there's two ways you can go about it. You can go to my website, goldenmastermind.com. It's also where you can purchase my book or my cards. That's under products. If you're going to purchase my book, please do not purchase it from Amazon. I do not get any credit from it from Amazon. So Amazon can print my book on command because I have a Kindle account. So if you want to purchase my book, or any of my books, go to my website, goldenmastermind.com. There is a tab there that says request a free 20-minute coaching session, or you can just as easily go to Facebook. You can send me a Facebook friend request. I will accept. I'm also on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Threads. You can find me in YouTube. You can go to my Facebook page. It's JEFFERYCOMBS, and you can send me an instant message, and I will respond to you today. So if you'd like to set up a coaching call with me, and you're considering coaching for 2024, and you're committed to yourself and your family and the people that are looking for what you have, and if you want to speak to me, go ahead and send me a message or fill out a 20-minute survey.
Oh, thank you, Jeff. I just want to say the mechanics of what we're doing is pretty simple. It's learning how to build a list, adding names every day, talking to people. The hard part, essentially for most people, is not the mechanics. It's the getting your head right, your heart, your spirit, and that psychology of prospecting. That's a classic. That's what first connected me to you. I was listening to that, and I pulled over, and I knew your phone number was there, and so we started talking, and that was the beginning. So that might be the beginning for all of you too. Get the psychology of prospecting. But thank you so much, and Happy New Year to all of us. The best way to create the future, or the best way to predict the future, is to create it. And let's actively create our own future. Thank you,
Dave,
Jeff.
thank you very much, Dave. My absolute privilege and pleasure to be here with you. And I highly endorse you as a man of influence, affluence, and a man who has absolutely paid the dues in network marketing free enterprise. I mean, your results that you created in a previous company, a long-term company, are some of the top results in the history of the industry. Thank you, Dave.
Well, thank you. That means a lot. Thank you, Jeff.